You may now apply. You may now apply your 3D glasses. 3D glasses. As we proceed, prepare to proceed.
Hi, my name is Melanie Chen, and this is my summer experiment. So I was wondering how much salt it would actually take to kill a plant. So I constructed this experiment and I found out. So my independent variable was the amount of salt that I actually gave to each plant, and my dependent variable was how the plant responded to the amount of salt. For example, it would have kept growing or would have shriveled and died. So for this experiment, I had two hypotheses because I had one for each amount of salt that I gave to a plant. And for this hypothesis, it was 1 gram of salt per day, and I said that I should expect the plant to survive the experience. For this hypothesis, it was 2 grams of salt per day, and I said that I should expect the plant to not survive the experiment. And here are my materials. And so first I cut 4 water bottles in half, and I made sure they were about the same size, and then I filled the bottles 3/4 of the way with soil, and again I made sure that the soil level was about the same. And then you want to plant 3 mung bean seeds in each bottle, and you want to make sure that they each have enough room to grow. And then you label the bottles A, B, C, and D so that you can actually differentiate between them. And then you water each plant and place them in a sunlit area so that they can actually grow. And I guess this is the more complicated part of the experiment. And so when mung bean plants sprout, they grow leaves. And after a week, those leaves fall off. And this is when you want to start giving them the salt, because they've had time now to grow and develop their defenses against foreign substances. And so, in this case, a foreign substance will be salt. And so for plants A and B, you don't want to give them any salt. These are your control plants. And for plant C, you want to give it 1 gram of salt per day, and you want to give plant D 2 grams of salt per day. And then you want to measure the stalk of the tallest plant in each bottle every day and record observations daily. And so here are some embarrassing pictures of me with the plants as they grew throughout the course of the 2 weeks. And here is my first data table. As you can see, the 4 plants and their heights throughout the days of the week. And here's my second data table with the colors of the plants. And as you can see, plant C and plant D were turning brown at around day 6 because they were dying. And so this is the graph I constructed for this experiment, and as you can see, I constructed a line graph, and it shows the height of 4 mung bean plants during the course of the week, as the title says. And the pattern in this experiment was that plants A and B grew faster than plants C and D during the whole week, but actually after day 5, plants C and D were actually starting to shrink because they were shriveling and dying. But something I did not expect was that plants C and D continued to grow even after receiving their daily dose of salt, because I expected them to start dying immediately after I salted them, but apparently they didn't, because they were actually growing at the beginning of the week. And so here's some uncontrollable errors and human errors that I have during my experiment, and I listed them here. And so my hypothesis was semi-correct, because my first hypothesis stated that plant C would not die, but it did die, so that was not correct. But my second hypothesis said that plant D would die, and it did die, so that was correct, so it was like semi-correct. And so my conclusion would be that plants allowed to grow without interference from salt grow faster than plants that are exposed for a significant amount of time. But prolonged exposure to high concentrations of salt will eventually cause the plant to die. And my suggestion for the future is just to mix the salt with water to create a saline solution, because it's easier to pour into the plants, and it saves time, and it's more efficient. And again, I had errors in my experiment that may have caused me to get different results than if I didn't have those errors. And so that may be some reasons why I got the results that I did. And here are my references. And I guess I'm done, so farewell.